I have a Cub Cadet RZT50 and the guy I bought it from had replaced the wiring harness. Everything works fine, but when I turn off the ignition key the mower engine does not turn off. The interesting thing is that the ignition does seem to work because I see the lights in the hour meter turn off when I turn the key off, but it's just the motor that doesn't cut off. I was wondering if there is a way to repair this or to create a single kill switch that will kill both of the sparks on the two plugs at the same time if that is possible. I tried grounding out the coils, but that does not work. However, when I put wires in the spark plug caps and ground those out the motor will stop running. I've tried chasing wires to see if there are any loose ones and there is one black wire that seems to be cut, but I don't know how to check it to see if that has anything to do with the ignition cutoff issue.
Hi. There is a wire that goes from the ignition switch to the ignition coil/S. If this wire has come off of the coil, then T will not shut the engine off. Also, if this wire is cut, then it will not work either. The black wire is likely the wire that we are both talking about. You also could have an ignition switch that has gone bad. The wire that we have been talking about is actually a grounding kill wire. If that wire is grounded, on the coil side, it should kill the spark and the engine should die. For a trained professional, this issue is very simple to fix. I would really suggest that you have a professional take a look at this. Usually it should only take less than an hour to fix this. About $65 labor plus any part that would need replaced. It might be much more expensive than that if you try to do this yourself and get a wire crossed or something. You could blow a lot of electronic parts. Otherwise, I would start at the ignition coil, located under the engine cover, and find the small wire that connects to the coil. Follow this small wire all the way down the wire harness, make sure that it is connected to the switch, and THT the switch is grounded. Please leave a good rating for me as that is the only way I get paid for my time. If you cannot give me one of the highest ratings, then please do not rate me at all until we discuss this answer further and you are happy with my answer.
As I mentioned in my initial description, the coil is not cutting off the spark when it is grounded. I have the cover off now, and it looks like there should be wires on the coils, but there are none. When I run a wire from the little posts on the coils and ground them both when the engine is running, nothing happens. But if I put a wire in the spark plug cap and ground both wires, there are two pistons, then the engine will cut off. Why wouldn't the engine cut off when grounding the both coils?
I do not know why it will not shut off with the small wires grounded. I think that there are two coils on this engine. There is a small spade clip on each of these coils.
Yes. There are.
There should be a wire that is connected to each of these spade clips. These wires go eventually to the ignition switch. The way that the engine is shut off is by grounding both of these two wires at the same time.
I tried the black wire but that didn't do anything. Been messing with this thing all day.
I understand how frustrating this can be. When did this start happening?
I bought it like this.
Oh. That is another thing.
It wasn't running when I got it. This is the last thing I need to fix.
There may be a chance that someone put the wrong ignition coils on this engine.
I had mentioned in my description that the guy I bought it from replaced the wiring harness. They are stock ignition coils. I can tell by looking at it.
I understand. Do you know where he bought the wiring harness from? Did he also replace the ignition coils? And where did he buy these if he did?
I have no idea. No, didn't replace the ignition coils. The wiring harness seems stock because all of the connectors fit all of the switches perfectly.
When you tried to ground the small wires on the coils, did you ground both of them at the same time?
Yes.
Is there a chance that the previous owner might have changed the ignition switch and put the wrong one on? When you grounded the small wires on the coils, did you ground it to the engine or the rider?
No, it is weathered just like the rest of the machine. It's original. Even cuts off the power when the switch is off. Just doesn't cut off the engine.
This is really weird.
I tried both.
Because the engine must shut off if those small wires are grounded. There is no other way for this to shut off. Well, not quite, but it is the only correct way. There is usually a fuel solenoid that is connected to the bottom of the carburetor.
Yes, I think I saw that. Go on.
This should have a wire connected to it providing 12 volts to the fuel solenoid when the ignition switch is on. When the ignition switch is off, the 12V does not get to this fuel solenoid. Then it will eventually kill the engine because it shuts off the fuel. But this is not the reason for this fuel solenoid. The reason for the fuel solenoid is actually to shut the fuel off to the engine when the ignition is shut off.
Oh. I see. It won't cut the engines off like a kill switch though.
This is because after the engine is shut off, they take a shower for the engine to stop turning over and pumping fuel into the engine. This will cause a backfire and blow the muffler.
Where are the coil kill wires supposed to ground to the engine or the frame?
So they do not want fuel to continue to flow into the engine after the ignition is off. Usually these kill wires go to the safety system, safety switches, such as the seat switch and PTO switch. Then it goes to the ignition switch. But, they are supposed to kill the engine when they are grounded. Is this a Kohler engine or a Briggs engine? They have used both. Can you get me the exact model and type and code or serial number off of the engine? If you can, I may be able to get you a complete service manual on the engine.
We'll look.
Okay.
22 horsepower Kawasaki Intech V-twin. All I could see as far as a model number on the engine was 40G777.
This is not a Kawasaki engine. It is a Briggs & Stratton engine. Here is a parts list that should be close to yours. I cannot tell you that it is exact, because I would need your exact type number to do that, but it should be very close. http://www.partstree.com/parts/question-lc equals Briggs_and_Stratton and MN equals 40G7770122G1. I will get you a repair manual in a minute. Here is the complete service manual for your engine. https://sendnow.acrobat.com/question-i equals ntabwi 75 wim4m%2ai4rq. This link will be good for 7 days. Please leave a good rating for me, as that is the only way I get paid for my time. If you cannot give me one of the highest ratings, then please do not rate me at all until we discuss this answer further and you are happy with my answer. Our chat has ended, but you can still continue to ask me questions here until you are satisfied with your answer. Come back to this page to view our conversation and any other new information. What happens now? Or, you can reply to me using the box below.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit justanswer.com/ythi.